Hey guys, I am having issues with my phone, but I really need to tell you about a dream. I just want to talk about a dream that I had, and I God has been telling me to say something about the dream, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you about this dream. So, it was several months ago when I had the dream, but it's like God's been like, "Hey, when are you going to say something?" So, everything I say to you is true. Um So, like several months ago, I had a dream. I was in a house and I was with my children, my family. And so I decided to, I was in a room and then I walked into another room, right? And then when I got into the other room, something told me to just go in my Bible and I start to read, just start reading my Bible. But for some reason, I think I was either reading something in Ezekiel, but or Revelation. I have to go back in my notes to see what it was, but it was somewhere in Ezekiel or Revelation. It was something, and it was like it was saying something about something is going to happen, but it was so strong, and in the dream I could feel it in my spirit, and I it was so strong. And then I called my daughter into the room, and then I said, to my daughter, I said to her, read. I gave her the Bible and I said, read this, right? And I say, read it from here to here. And then she started reading. So as she was reading, I noticed a sound was coming, like a noise was coming in, like it was, like it was like a angelic noise, but like it was like singing. But I was just hearing, I can't explain it, so do not laugh at me, right? Then it was coming from, it sounded like it was coming from the roof, like the ceiling of the house. I couldn't explain it, right? And so when that was happening, I my daughter, my son and my husband, we went into the living room area, and my mom was there for some reason, and then like we looked up and the noise started to get louder. And then I looked outside towards the slide window, and I noticed that feathers was falling from the sky. Feathers was falling from the sky. And I told everybody, was like looking around, like, what's going on? It wasn't snow, it was feathers, white feathers just falling from the sky. And I ran out that house. I went to the backyard and I was trying to catch the feathers. And I was able to catch three feathers, but my family wasn't able to catch. They didn't catch any feathers. But the feathers that I caught, they probably did, but I didn't see any feathers in their hand because I remember my feathers, right? And the feathers that was in my hand, I carried it. I was like, this. I held on tight to the feathers, right? And then it stopped. The feathers stopped coming from the sky. It just stopped. Then I looked up in the sky, and then I noticed there was like angels on the four corners. Like I could see angels, like one, two, three, four, but it's like they weren't clear. But then I heard like a trumpet sound. I heard a trumpet sound. And when I heard the trumpet sound, all of this going up, I'm on while I'm looking towards up in the sky. I'm actually kind of nervous while I'm telling this dream because I took so long. But when I looked up in the sky, I noticed um, it looked like something coming down. I want to say Jesus, right? But it was like it was an angel. It was just like it was just beautiful, but it was something going on in the sky. So as the events unfold in the sky, um, my neighbor at the time, she came out, and she had people, like it looks like people that were of African descent, because I seen like kente cloth on them, and she like closing kente closing on them. And then she had one person that looked like they were watching her child come out, and another person, but you would think that they would stay on her side of the fence, right? For some reason, They decide to come towards my house. They decide to gather right in front of my house on my side of the house. And for some reason, I'm sorry for saying that again. It's like they start to come, come, like at least a good amount. And they put chairs out on my lawn, on my side of the house, while all this is going on up in the sky, because they thought I was crazy because I'm just looking at the sky and I'm looking at them. I'm seeing what's going on. Sorry for the dog. So then I noticed that they sat one. It was like one chair. It was 12 chairs in total. It was 12 chairs in total, and it was 6 chairs in the front, 6 chairs in the back, and all of them were of African descent, and they had kente clothing on, and they were looking up at the sky as I looked in the sky, but they didn't know what was going on, but they just sat on my side of the lawn. It's like they came for me, and they sat there and they were looking. Yes, something's going on every time I'm supposed to release this video. Every time I record something or I'm about to record a video for this prophetic dream, is either an event happened in my personal life, or like this video. I recorded the whole entire video, but for some reason it's been cut off. So, guys, forgive me, okay? So now what I'm doing is just doing an audio for the rest of the video. Okay? So while they were looking up into like looking towards the sky, those people were looking towards the sky. This when you There were 12 people in total on my lawn. So it was 6 chairs in the front, 6 chairs in the back, lined up neatly. And while they were looking towards the sky and we're watching these events unfold, we noticed there was, like, when the events occurred, the government would come in and try to cover it up. But we're looking at what's going on, we're seeing what's going on. And God will show signs and everything. And it was like they'll make us think that we're crazy. Like, I knew what was going on. They knew what was going on. And we were just looking, and the government would come in towards the center of the sky and cover it up and make it seem like there's nothing to see here, folks. Right. And then when I look towards the east, something else is happening in the sky, and I'm looking at it. And then the government comes up with like a idea where they put a blunt, they try to make it seem like God's children, like we're losing it, like we're just seeing things. So here's the thing though, not everyone's able to see what's going on or understand what's going on. It's the chosen people who are seeing what's going on. Like, if we've been following God, if we he's not, to be honest with you, is who he wants to see what's going on. And only the people who understood what was going on is certain people. Because the reason I say this is because my neighbor at that time, she was not moved at all. So while we were looking towards the sky, she was just in the back making faces, like rolling her eyes, didn't care about anything. She didn't care about what was unfolding or anything. So at one point in a dream, I look up and I still see the angels. Guess what I see? I see Satan. It's like it went fast, like they morphed him, like he was in chains. He was in chains, and it was like super quick. They took him from the west, like far, like southwest. It's like it was so much things going on. It like they took him, it was like a quick morph, like super zip through with chains on. They took him quickly, like angels, like they cornered him, and they took him quickly, and they slammed them into something like far north. Like they slammed them into something, like destroyed him. They put him somewhere, and it was crazy. And after I seen that, I started to cry. I'm like, it's happening. And then I woke up out my dream, and I was like, okay, mom, I was like, in my brain, I'm like, I need to tell my mom. I need to tell my husband. I need to tell my children, hey, we need to get it right for God. I'm like, I need to share this because the dream was so for real. And I had those feathers in my dream from the time they fell in my hand, from the time it fell in my hand in the beginning of the dream, like when it was falling from the sky, to the end of the dream. But the 6 people, the 12, there were 12 in total. All of them were of African descent, and they was just looking at the sky. And you want to know something, guys? That's what led me to make my YouTube channel, because for years I was asking God. I said, God, I was like, God, use me as a vessel. Use me as a vessel to spread your word, to spread your love. And when I had that dream, I woke up and I was like, God is telling us to prepare. The angels that were singing were saying, prepare, prepare. That's what it meant. It's like God just gave me discernment, and he gave me the gift of discernment. And it's like I understood. It was like saying prepare. And guys, you guys who's watching the video needs to prepare. We need to prepare together. We need to uplift each other, and not just, we don't need to tear each other apart. We need to uplift each other and prepare for his days. And we don't know the second, we don't know the hour, but we know that right now we could make it heaven on earth until God's coming by loving each other, following his words, and lead each other with truth. We shouldn't throw judgment on each other, and we should try to save as many lost sheep as possible.